Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai. Jai. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna Mahamantra ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana ki Jai. Srila Maharaj Krishna ki Jai. Hare Bol. Today we're hearing from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. 12 and text 18 and 19. You can repeat after me. Samak satro chamitre cha tata mana pramanayo sitosna sukadukake su samak sanga vivajita tulyaninda strutir moni santusto yena kenachit aniketa stiramatir bhaktiman me priyo nara. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. You can repeat after me. A devotee is always free from all bad association. Sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. But a devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame and infamy, distress or happiness. He is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore, he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should stop speaking. Stop speaking. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only of essentials. And the most essential speech for the devotee is to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, and sometimes not. But he is satisfied, nor does he care for any residential facility. He may be very he may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. Very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. He is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of the qualifications of a devotee. But this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Haravabhaktes, I'm sorry, Harav Abhaktesa, Kuto Mahadguna. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him to develop them. So this is a very nice explanation here. If we simply engage in devotional service to the Lord, then all good qualities will be blessed in our activities. And devotional service means serving the deities, serving the devotees, and always having a cheerful and happy demeanor, and always being positive, and always hearing about Krishna and praising the Lord with choice poetry and choice verses of the Bhagavad Gita. That will keep us on the good side of Krishna, because we always will be glorifying the Lord. So it says here, engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps the devotee develop all good qualities. And also it says, a devotee is always free from all bad association. And also it says, the devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame and infamy, distress or happiness. The devotee is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only of essentials, and the most essential speak is for the devotee to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not. But he is satisfied, nor does he care for any residential facility. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. He is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of the qualifications of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Haravabhaktasya kuto mahadguna. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him to develop them. So it's very important to be engaged in devotional service. And it's very important to be in the association of genuine devotees. And it's also very important to always chant at minimum 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And it is also important to eat only Krishna Prasadam. And it is also important to associate with genuine devotees, not with nonsense people. If you associate with non-devotees, it will very easily destroy your faith and love for Krishna, because non-devotees will always be speaking about mundane things. But if you are always Krishna conscious, chanting, dancing, feasting, hearing lectures, giving lectures, going on Sankirtan, and so forth, you will have a very peaceful and happy life, and you will not suffer any of the normal sufferings of non-devotional people. Non-devotional people are worried all the time about money, about sex, about so many things. But a genuine devotee who is simply engaged in Krishna conscious activities does not have these worries, nor any doubts. The devotee is completely faithful to Krishna, knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to him, no one is greater to him. Everyone is subordinate to him. And therefore, the devotee is promised by Krishna that he will never be vanquished. So therefore, with that promise from Krishna, the devotee acts fearlessly in chanting Hare Krishna and preaching and being extremely kind and gentle, at the same time not being a coward. If there is some danger, the devotee is not afraid, knowing well that Krishna has promised to protect him. Okay, so are there any questions? I think I said enough to elicit some questions. Are there any questions? Let me just read this verse again. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. Me meaning Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any questions or comments about what is being said here?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah. Haribol.
Why does Prabhupada say that we should not endeavor very hard to develop
Shouldn't
these
work
qualifications?
hard.
Yeah, shouldn't endeavor very hard to develop these qualification, but as long as we engage in the Krishna consciousness services, these qualities are automatically developed.
Yeah, they'll
How
be
do you
developed naturally by your regulated devotional service. The other thing is that we should not work over strenuously. Some people, they're trying to become millionaires. They're worrying about this, worrying about that, and working, 16 hours a day and so forth. It shouldn't work like that. You can do your 8 hours, but it should stop there, because now you can do 8 hours of Krishna consciousness. If you're working 16, 18 hours a day, that's not a life. That is being a slave.
Is Prabhupada referring to the mundane hard work, or is Prabhupada also referring to the development of the qualification, like Samaset, being equal to enemy or friend? or happiness and sadness equally? Is Prabhupada talking about these qualifications?
No,
Working
he's
hard.
talking about. Let's read here. It says. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop these good qualities. So we should always be engaged in devotional service and always be thinking of Krishna and serving Krishna.
Means we don't need to focus on developing all these qualities Krishna is mentioning.
That'll happen naturally.
They'll happen
if
naturally.
we're regularly engaged in devotional service, in the association of genuine devotees also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's nice about it is that you have support in Krishna consciousness. That is, you're supported by other devotees who are following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness. And you can also ask questions in class. It's one thing to hear a class. It's another thing to be able to ask a question in class. When you ask a question in class, then you learn something. If you don't have to ask any questions, then you're not going to learn much. So questions that you ask is the proof that you were listening to the class, but there was something you did not exactly understand, or you want to have more clarification of what was said. That means you listened to the class, and now you're getting a more complete understanding by asking the question. It's very important to ask questions. The whole Bhagavad Gita is ask questions and answers. Arjuna is asking so many questions of Krishna, and he's answering them. Krishna is answering them one by one. And in most Sanskrit, let's say, books, there are questions and answers. Very important. Therefore, even if we know the answer, we may still ask a question, and we may learn some facet of that question that we didn't know before. So it's always good to ask questions and have a discussion about what's being said. Like in this verse, it says, one who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. So this is Krishna speaking. And what he's saying is wonderful. Yeah. So, we should follow Krishna's instructions. He says, one who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor. In other words, he's always staying steady. He doesn't get puffed up in honor, and he doesn't become frustrated in dishonor. And heat and cold. He can tolerate heat and cold. Happiness and distress. He can tolerate happiness and distress. Fame and infamy. He can tolerate fame and infamy. Who is always free from contaminating association. Now that's the most important thing. To stay away from bad people. In other words, bad association. That's probably the most important thing if you want to be a devotee. You have to give up give up the association with bad people that use bad language, that only talk about mundane things, that play tricks on you, etc. You should just avoid those type of people. And always silent, meaning not talking nonsense. You can talk good sense, that's okay, but silence means you do not talk nonsense. And not caring for any residence. Well, it's nice to have a steady residence, but it might be a nice residence, it might not be a really, let's say, very expensive place, but you're satisfied with whatever Krishna gives you. And above all, one should be fixed in knowledge. Well, how can you be fixed in knowledge? You have to listen to the classes, take notes, ask questions. That's how you become fixed in knowledge. And who is engaged in devotional service? Well, we should all be engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. So, if we not only engage in devotional service, but we should be fixed in knowledge. That means we have to hear the classes, ask questions, have discussion, and so forth, so that we are educated. We learn something new every time we come to class. For example, something new. It says here, one who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications of a devotee. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him to develop these good qualities. That's a very nice statement. Automatically, you will develop all the good qualities by associating with devotees and engaging in devotional service with devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
So, we would like to take association of this kind of devotee who exhibits these qualities. But how do we find out a person has these qualities or not? How do we associate with this person? Is it allowed to test the person whether a person has these qualities, or you just wait until automatically revealed?
Wait until what?
Automatically revealed.
Automatically revealed. Sounds like a machine. Automatically revealed. Well, you can tell who is good and who's good sometimes, bad sometimes, who's always bad also. You'll find out very quickly, isn't it? Right? So the good people will always be gentle and kind, and always be well-wishers, and always give what you would call friendship, right? And avoid bad language, avoid bad desires, and so forth. So you can recognize who's good, who's bad. It's not that difficult. The bad people you avoid, the good people you associate with them. Right? Now, if you have no good people in your life, that's a problem. But then you come to the temple, and you'll find good people. So there's no excuse. You can't say, well, nobody, I didn't have anybody to talk to, blah, blah, blah. No. If there's nothing, there's always the temple. And the temple is the best place to meet good people. We're not trying to train people to be bad. We're trying to train people to be good here. So if you come to the temple, you will meet good.
If a devotee is doing some Krishna service but not perfect,
Yeah.
but the senior devotee gets upset or uses mean words, upset or uses mean words.
Senior devotee.
Because this is an example, Guru Maharaj. Indra Prabhu's biography. He was actually slapped by a second initiate devotee during his time.
Which devotee is this?
Indra Prabhu. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's recorded in his biography
Yeah, okay.
that he was slapped by second initiate devotee.
Yeah.
So, like then with that example, sometimes if we can see like Indra Prabhu was so elevated, but he even got slapped by a senior devotee. So with that example, if somebody is mean to us, senior person is mean to us, should we tolerate like Indra Prabhu tolerated? So should we take that example?
Well, I really don't think that we have people like that in this temple. But if you do encounter someone like that, you just tolerate it, but now you know who not to associate with. All right, you had a question. Haribol. It all depends on how much faith you have in Krishna. If your faith is weak, then there'll be situations in which you'll be always afraid. If you have strong faith in Krishna, you'll never be afraid because you know Krishna promises to protect you. Konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranasyati. Declare it boldly, Arjuna, that my devotee will never be vanquished. So that is a promise that Krishna makes. So are you going to believe it or you're not going to believe it? A genuine devotee will believe it and is not going to be intimidated by anyone. Of course, there are people who will try and intimidate you, but you know that Krishna is promising to protect you. So it all depends on faith. One who has complete faith, unalloyed faith, unswerving or complete faith, is never afraid of any situation or any person. So you might not have that absolute faith yet, but it develops if you keep following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness and hearing regular classes given in the temple. Eventually you realize, wait a minute, why should I be worried about anything? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the creator of the whole universe, right? And he's in the heart of every living entity. Not only human beings, but in mosquitoes as well as animals and so forth. So if I am a devotee, obviously Krishna is promising to protect me. So you have to have that faith. He's promising to protect his devotee. So there's nothing to worry about. And if there are difficult situations, you can tolerate them and walk away from, bad association. Fortunately, we live in a country where there is the principle of law. Yeah, so we're lucky. I mean, there are countries where there's very little protection from policemen and the law and laws. But the United States has generally good laws and good protection of the people. And it depends also on what kind of neighborhood you live in and what kind of people you associate with. But here in Sammamish, it's a good neighborhood. And even better than that, you're associating only with devotees in this neighborhood, right? So you don't really have much to be afraid of. The only thing you should be afraid of is ignoring or not following the regulative principles. That you should be afraid of. But if you regularly follow the regulative principles, there's nothing to be afraid of, because Krishna promises to protect you. And also, it depends a lot on who you associate with. If you only associate with good devotees, then you always feel safe and you feel invigorated to engage creatively in Krishna consciousness, having festivals, chanting, dancing, feasting, all these things. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yeah.
Like in the sentence, Kaunteya prajani hiname bhakta pranashyati. Right? Arjuna declared boldly, my declare boldly, my devotees never get perished. When I was thinking about Andhra Prabhu, then he.
You know how he died?
Yes, that's the question. My question is coming to that.
Okay.
Then how do we say that his devotee was protected at the time? Like, how do we define a devotee is getting protected, not protected? Because in Andhra Prabhu's situation, he was not protected. He died from our materialistic point of view. We don't know what's happening behind the screen, but physically.
You ever meet him?
No.
The way he died, he was a very, let's say, he was a person that had very, let's say, a strong attraction to Prabhupada, but he also had some idiosyncratic behavior. What do I mean by that? I mean that he would do some things that would not be normal to do. Like have his own room and lock his room and go to sleep. And he didn't want anyone else to be in his room. Well, that's why he died. Because he, if I understand correctly, he had a little accident in his room, and it was by putting a heater, some kind of heater in his room. Those heaters are not supposed to be in rooms. The one that he had, they're supposed to be outside. But he put one of those type of heaters inside his room and turned it on, and then he suffocated and he died. So he had some idiosyncratic behavior that was not, let's say, normal. It doesn't mean he's a bad person, but he developed certain, let's say, qualities of wanting to be alone and without having anyone else in his immediate, in this immediate room, right? And then this heater that he used, it suffocated him. It was not a good heater. And there's always possibilities of having a mishap with an electric heater in a room. Right? So, and because he had some idiocentric behavior, you know, he was a great preacher, a great singer, and so forth, but he didn't like to share a room with somebody else. He wanted to be by himself. And he did something that was not intelligent. He put an electric heater in his room, and he suffocated. And he locked the room. He always locked his room, so no one could get in to help him. And he died like that. It's unfortunate. So we shouldn't have not funny, but we shouldn't have strange behavior. We should always, have friends that we can trust, and always be 2 or 3 people, right? In the company of 2 or 3 people, whether you go outside or whether you're in the temple, So that was unfortunate. He was a very good devotee, but he had these, what do you call it, idiocentric behaviors. And he, unfortunately locked his room and turned on the heater, and he suffocated and died. And it was a dangerous heater, one of those electric heaters, cheap electric heaters. So it's a shame. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? If not, it is almost 9:30. Oh my God. Cinderella's shoes are going to not fit. What happens to Cinderella when it's late? Her shoes fall off, or something like that. I forget now the story of Cinderella. Okay, well, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you chant Hare Krishna every day, you have nothing to worry about. If you don't chant, you have a lot to worry about. Haribol.